If you are managing a short-term rental or multiple short-term rentals, then you know that operations run a lot more smoothly when you have a few tricks up your sleeve.
And by tricks, we mean tech. Smart home devices can make your lives a whole lot easier, especially when you've got guests checking in and out, issues popping up at odd hours, and you just generally want to keep an eye on things at your property.
Always watching.
Today, we're not just going to be listing our favorite smart home devices. Instead, we're going to be breaking down the top options for each category, comparing each one, and then telling you which one we ultimately chose and why.
We're calling this our Smart Home Showdown, and we're going to dive into everything from outdoor cameras to water leak detectors. And you can find links to everything we're talking about by going to arrivals.com/worksmarter.harder or visit the link in the description box below.
First up is outdoor security cameras, because keeping an eye on your short-term rental is critical.
There are tons of options out there, but we tried to narrow it down to the 4 most popular options that we see. These are the Ring Stick-Up Cam, the Arlo Pro 4, the Nest Cam, and the Wyze Cam V3.
First, let's take a look at the Ring Stick-Up Cam. This camera records in 1080p HD and is completely wireless, making it very versatile.
But for the fairly basic camera that it is, it comes with a fairly hefty price tag of between $100 and $120. So it's a solid option, but not the most budget friendly. And then you also have to factor in, to get event history, you have to sign up for a Ring subscription plan.
Hope you have a subscription.
Being solely battery or solar powered also has its drawbacks. You'll need to remember to keep it charged, which can be difficult if you're not always at the property or you're not local, and solar powered batteries can be unreliable.
But we will also say that even plug-in options do have some drawbacks. Guests can be known to unplug things from time to time, and then you're left without access to your camera.
Another popular option is the Arlo Pro 4. This camera steps it up with 2K resolution, so the video quality is great.
It also has a built-in spotlight and color night vision, which is a nice thing for looking at footage after dark.
When all the trouble happens. But again, it's on the more expensive side at $200 to $250 per camera. And like the Ring, it's battery powered, so you have to deal with charging the battery. And also like the Ring, you have to pay for a subscription to get the event history.
Then there's the Nest Cam. This has 1080p video, and it integrates well with the Google Home ecosystem, if you are part of that. It's also weatherproof, so you don't have to worry about it being outdoors and in the elements.
At around $180 to $200, the Nest Cam is also a more expensive option. And once again, if you want to access that event history, you're looking at another subscription cost.
These are battery-powered cameras as well, but one key thing here that we like is that they do have the option to permanently power them with AC power, which is something that we've done here at our Iowa property. When you do power them with AC power, you have the option of 24/7 continuous recording, which is an option we like because sometimes these motion capture events just don't capture everything. Having that full video history is nice to look back on sometimes. We chose to put the Nest Cam here at our Iowa property because I got a good deal on them, secondhand on eBay. And then we rationalized the cost of the Nest Aware subscription because the price is for unlimited cameras, and we have 6 cameras across our acreage here, and it just made more sense.
Comparably, at our vacation rentals, where we typically only have 1 camera overlooking the driveway, that subscription fee is a little harder to rationalize.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Finally, we have our top pick for cameras at rental properties, and that is the Wyze V3.
This camera offers 1080p video, color night vision, and is also weatherproof.
But the best part is that it's priced around $35 to $40, making it the most affordable version by far.
We choose the wired version because it eliminates the need for us to keep track of charging batteries, and generally I install these myself. There's usually a way to find power for them. If you're handy, you should be able to figure it out. If you're not, should be a pretty straightforward job for a handyman.
Wyze also offers a wireless version if that works better for the setup at your property, but you'll have to remember to keep that battery charged.
In our property management business, we supply a camera, a noise monitor, and a smart lock to owners if they don't already have one. Price is a pretty big factor. since we're purchasing a lot of these cameras.
But we don't feel like we're sacrificing price for quality with the Wisecam. It gives us all of the features that we're looking for in a camera, but at a fraction of the cost of some of the competitors. The motion alerts are fine, and it does record 24/7, which is good for peace of mind. You also don't need to have a subscription to the Wise Unlimited plan just for normal use. We choose to opt into this subscription because we have about 30 of these cameras across different properties that we're looking after. So again, you can rationalize it more at volume.
Add to shopping cart.
Now that we've covered outdoor cameras, let's move inside and talk about smart thermostats. These are essential tools that can keep guests comfortable and also save you money.
First up is the Nest Learning Thermostat. This one's well known for sort of learning your schedule and adjusting the temperatures accordingly, which can be a big energy saver if you're living in that house full time.
But for short-term rentals where guests are coming and going all the time at different schedules, we've not really found a benefit to this learning feature. So you're really paying for a feature that you're probably not going to get much value out of.
And with the price tag of around $250, it's not the most budget-friendly option either.
Plus, a lot of guests who come to our properties aren't familiar with the Nest, and they end up having trouble adjusting it to the set points they like, or changing modes from heating to cooling, or just generally messing with the settings.
There is also a lower cost model, the Nest thermostat, which costs typically around $130 to $150 unless you get it on sale.
This model offers some of the same smart features, but a key thing here is that you aren't able to set limits, which you can with the more expensive model. And setting limits is kind of an essential feature in our mind to prevent guests from abusing your heating and cooling system.
I can't even set my thermostat without the help of my grandson.
Next, let's look at the Honeywell T6, which is priced similarly to the Emerson Sensi at around $120 to $130.
It's a straightforward, easy to use thermostat, but a big downside here is there is no ability to set limits.
And for short-term rentals, not being able to set temperature limits for heating and cooling is a deal breaker.
I also don't like the Honeywell app that much. It's slow to update when you make set point changes, and slow to reflect that, and if you have multiple properties on there, it's cumbersome to click between each one to see how the set points are set.
Finally, let's talk about the Emerson Sensi Smart Thermostat, which is our top pick.
It's affordable, usually between $100 and $130. It's easy to install, and it doesn't require a C-wire in most installations, which is something we've run into in some homes.
It has all of the essentials that you need for a short-term rental. Remote access, scheduling, energy-saving features, but without that complex user interface of some of the higher-end models.
While it is similar in price to the Honeywell T6 that we mentioned, it gets the edge because you can set temperature limits. The app display is also nice, especially for multiple properties. You can quickly scroll through them, see what the status and set points are real quick.
Another popular option is the Ecobee Smart Thermostat. This one's priced a little bit higher, around $200 to $250. And while it has a lot of smart features like room sensors and voice control, we just didn't think that those features were necessary for a short-term rental. You're paying for extras that you probably won't be using.
So in the end, our choice is the Sensi. It's got a nice interface, it's easy to install, it's got the limits. It's just a great choice for managing a portfolio of multiple properties.
Makes perfect sense.
Now that we have covered thermostats, let's move on to another important aspect of managing short-term rentals, and that is door keypads.
Smart locks make guest access easy, not having to deal with any keys. It also gives you remote insight into the status of the locks and who's using them. The most popular options we see are the Schlage OnCode, the Kwikset Halo, and the Yale Assure 2.
Starting with the OnCode, this lock is popular because it has built-in Wi-Fi, so you don't need to have a separate module to access it remotely.
It's durable, reliable, and it's an ideal choice for rentals because you can set and change codes easily from an app.
The downside is that it does come with the highest price tag, usually around $250. But when it comes to ease of use and peace of mind and battery longevity, it's a solid choice.
Next is the Kwikset Halo. This is our top choice. Like the Schlage, it has built-in Wi-Fi, so there's no other hub or dongles required to get the remote connectivity.
But a big plus for the Halo is the cost. We can usually pick these up new for between $150 and $200 depending on the color.
We've seen some people badmouth the Kwikset Halo, but our experience has been really good if you have good solid Wi-Fi connection near the lock and you keep the firmware updated. Things have worked well battery life has been good.
Another popular option is the Yale Assure 2. This lock is a step up from the older Yale Assure model in that you don't need to have a separate module for Wi-Fi connectivity.
With these previous models, you had this separate little Wi-Fi module that you had to plug into an outlet, and we had several instances where either guests didn't know what it was, so they unplugged it, or our cleaners unplugged it to plug in their vacuum, and then we're left without remote connectivity.
It's unplugged.
The Assure 2 seems to have fixed that issue with the built-in Wi-Fi in this newer model, but it also does come with a higher price tag at around $240.
In the end, we like the Quickset Halo. The Schlage Encode is a nice second choice, but a bit more expensive. You can't go wrong with either of those. One thing to point out is you should check compatibility with your property management software. There are a multitude of softwares out there and they support a multitude of different locks, but if you would like the capability for your PMS to be able to automatically assign codes for new guests, this is something to check with compatibility between locks and the software.
Now that we've covered smart locks, let's move on to smart garage controls, which is just another way to improve security and also guest convenience at your properties.
We considered two options here that are on the market, the Genie Aladdin Connect or the Chamberlain MyQ, but in our minds there's a clear winner.
Please, it's no competition.
The Genie Aladdin Connect allows you to control, open and close your garage door remotely, but one of the downsides is that it can be a bit tricky to install, especially if your garage door opener is not completely compatible. You might need to do or hire a handyman to do some extra wiring or configurations.
It's also priced between $80 and $100, which is significantly more than the MyQ system, and there's extra features that you're paying for here that just aren't really needed at a rental property.
That's one of the reasons why we went with the Chamberlain MyQ system. It's much more affordable, usually around $30 to $40, so less than half of the Genie, and it works with most garage door openers.
We use these remote garage access systems mostly in emergencies, like if a keypad battery fails, we're able to get on the app and open or close the door remotely.
We also get alerts if the door has been left open for too long, and we can open or close it remotely if a guest has trouble with the door or if they get locked inside, which happens at least once a year at our San Diego property.
At that property, there's a garage, and guests sometimes just naturally assume that there's access to the house from the garage, but there's not. Someone, like once a year usually, pushes the button to close the door and then realizes they're trapped inside.
It just happened like 2 weeks ago again. This happens so frequently that we installed motion lights inside the garage so that when people get trapped in there, at least they can see and find their phone and get a hold of us so we can rescue them with the MyQ app.
She's accidentally locked herself in a garage again.
We mentioned affordability was a factor with the MyQ system, and if you shop around for sales and special events, you can usually get the MyQ system plus the MyQ video keypad for the same or similar cost as the Genie Aladdin Connect system.
The MyQ Smart Garage Video Keypad has been such a great addition to our business. It allows us to set codes remotely for not just every guest that's coming in, but also our cleaning team, ourselves, and other people that work in our business.
This is great because we don't have to hand out any physical garage remotes or clickers that guests often forget and take with them, or we don't have to have a universal garage code that is hard to change, can't change remotely, and that compromises security.
The video keypad also has a built-in camera, so one more way of monitoring that access point.
Overall, that combo of the MyQ connectivity system and the smart video keypad have been the perfect solution for us. The combination of remote control and secure guest access, all at a budget-friendly price, it's a perfect choice for us.
Next up are noise monitors, which are essential for short-term rentals because we want to keep the peace with our neighbors and also prevent getting fines for noise violations from the city.
We have firsthand experience with two of the primary players here. That's Noise Aware and Minute, but we really like the Minute for the reasons we'll talk about next.
Noise Aware was designed specifically for short-term rentals, and it monitors noise decibel levels. So think of it like a smoke alarm for noise. It's not recording audio or video.
Noise Aware is priced around $150, and it seems like their kind of primary focus is for interior installation and monitoring, which isn't our primary concern. We only really care if noise can be heard outside the property to disturb a neighbor, and that's where we like the Minute.
And the reason why we like the Minute better for exterior monitoring is because it comes with motion alerts.
This is incredibly helpful because if there is elevated noise picked up by the sensor, you can also look if there's corresponding motion. The noise might be coming from the neighbor mowing the lawn, and therefore it's not a problem with your guest, but if there's noise and motion, you can usually kind of correlate that and decide that, yeah, there probably is noise coming from your guests at your property.
Party's over.
One of the great features about Minute is the ease of swapping them between properties. So as property managers, we will often carry a spare one that's fully charged when we're out doing our rounds. So if we do find one with a low battery, we can easily swap it out and there's no reconfiguration needed. Just don't forget that these devices do need to be disclosed on your listing, just like a camera would.
Next, let's talk about water leak detectors. We think these are an easy to add and kind of an essential tool for monitoring potential leaks at your property, something that guests might not notice right away, or your property's sitting vacant for a few days. You want to get notified if there's water leak.
One popular choice is Flow by Moen. It's one of the more advanced options because not only does it detect leaks, but it can also shut the water off at the source if it does detect a leak.
This is priced around $400, but one of the big drawbacks here is that it does need a professional installation, usually by a plumber, because it's installed at your water source to the house. This is not something to choose if you need a quick and easy installation.
We ultimately chose the YoLink water leak detector. It's priced at around $20 per sensor, which makes it an extremely budget-friendly option, especially if you want to install it at multiple points around your property. We found that you can often get a starter kit, which includes a hub and several different sensors for around $50.
We like that it has long-range coverage, which can be useful for big properties, and it also has add-on capability for other things like temperature and humidity sensors, door sensors, and many more, and you can kind of create a DIY security monitoring system if you like.
DIY makes it so much easier.
One of the best features of the YoLink is the battery life, because these batteries can last for 5 years, so you don't have to worry about constantly checking or replacing them. You can also set it up to receive notifications on your phone if and when a leak is detected, so that you can act immediately and prevent any further damage.
While the YoLink doesn't have the capability to shut off your water supply like the Flow by Moen does, the cost and the simplicity for setting these up outweigh that sort of drawback, and we think it's a great solution to add this capability to your short-term rental. So there you have it. That's our Smart Home Showdown of our top picks for devices to put in your short-term rental.
They save us time, they give us peace of mind, and they keep our properties secure. Once again, we'll leave links for all of the things we discussed in today's video down in the description box, or you can see the full list at arrivals.com/work smarter, not harder.
Feel free to ask any questions, maybe share your experience in the comments down below, and we'll link another video here on the screen we think you might want to watch next.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.